Nice. It's the Championship playoff weekend, and West Brom, if they want to get to Wembley, they're going to have to do something they haven't done all season. Let's beat Southampton, and we are here to preview it with, of course, our baggy Aaron, and we have our Saints fan, Mikey. Evening to you both. How are you? Excited for this one?
Quite excited to be fair, actually, but obviously, we haven't beat Southampton this season, so it's a hard one to call at the moment.
Yeah, Mikey, fancy your chances?
I think what you just said there, we've done a double over in this season, but we all know playoff football's a total different ball game, so it's a difficult one to call.
Yeah. We'll have a word with you in a second, Mikey, and bring you back to preview this game. Let's get a quick word with Aaron, though. First of all, I mean, you needed that Preston win, didn't you? Badly. Were you that good, or were Preston that poor?
A bit of both, really. I think we were quite dominant. I mean, if you look at the stats alone, I mean, we were all over them. I don't think they had a sniff of the ball from what it seems like, but I think it was just a well-needed win, a well-needed performance, especially as well. I mean, because we haven't been performing too well in the recent weeks, bar the Leicester result. The Leicester game, which of course we still lost anyway, so that doesn't really make a difference. But no, it was definitely a needed win, especially for the last day of the season. Going into the playoffs, we wanted to play. We wanted probably to finish fifth rather than sixth. I'm not too sure how we would have made a difference really, because obviously we would have played two very, very good sides who've been very good this season. But we needed that win just for a bit of confidence and a bit of momentum to go into these next two games.
Yeah, would you have preferred to play Southampton rather than Leeds, given that you haven't got a point against Southampton at all this season?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? This is what the players would have been thinking about, is what I think, because it's a mind game, as well as I've obviously been quite good on the pitch. It's a mind game that the fact we haven't beaten this once this season will play on their minds, and I think they'll either do too much to try and rectify that, or they'll be quite scared, and they'll be shielding themselves in the hope a bad result doesn't come. But again, Leeds are a very different team to the sides that we've played, I think, this season. Obviously, right at the start of the year, they weren't good at all. I mean, they were, I think, lucky to get a point, if anything, and obviously we beat them later on in the year, which is, again, was a very good performance. But as I've said, in the previous weeks, once you get to the playoffs, it's a whole different ball game. So you can't really say, oh, you prefer to play these or whoever else, because I think on the day anyone can win. And that goes for any game, really, but especially in the playoffs. It's such a high-profile, high-pressured game, and I think the players will need to be at their best.
Yeah. It's been a great season for West Brom, hasn't it? If you think about when we track back, you started the season skint, financially in a lot of turmoil. You found a new owner sitting under the Christmas tree, and you spent no money, I think, in January, although you little anyway. And here you are sitting fifth, 2 games away from a Wembley final. Not bad season, is it?
I mean, it's far better than any Albion fan I'd imagine would have expected to start this year. I mean, if last year at Christmas, I think we were in the bottom 5, bottom 6 maybe. I think in October before Corberán was taken over, we were bottom of the league. So to think in 18 months we've gone from being around the bottom half, at the very best, to now being at 2 games away from Wembley, 3 games away from the Premier League. It's quite mad, to be fair. I mean, it's such a strange turn of events, because every Albion fan, if you ask anyone, not just me, but you ask anyone, they're most likely going to be the most pessimistic person you ever speak to in your life. And considering where we were, no money, the owner doesn't care. He's not present at all. To go from that to find a new owner who, I don't want to speak for someone else, but he's quite rich, and I'm sure he has the willpower and the necessary means to spend and get us out of this league especially. But it's just we're grateful. I think we're definitely grateful. I mean, Corberán's done an amazing job. He's made us more attractive, which obviously then led to us being overtaken by Sheila Patel. But I think it's all down to Corberán doing well with what he can. And I mean, it's not with what he can isn't a lot either, really. So it's an amazing job he's done.
Absolutely, yeah. Sign of a great coach. Okay, 2 games against Southampton. Then the first one, obviously, being this Sunday afternoon, and at the Hawthorns, and then a wicked, evil trip to Southampton on a Friday night, which ain't great for the travelling support, but you'll be there at both of them. Your record in playoffs ain't great. I think you played 4-1-1, but you've got that experience where Southampton have only been in one before. Does that count for anything in this type of game?
I don't really know, to be fair. I mean, if you look back at our previous history, as you just said as well, we aren't the greatest team in the playoffs at all anyway. I think in recent history, I think we lost to Villa in the playoffs, which is hard. That's probably the worst of the worst. I mean, if Wolves were in the league and we lost to them, I think that might top it. But regardless, that's probably one of the worst things that could possibly happen. But it's a game. This time around, it's a game where we can win. I mean, we haven't shown that this year, regardless. But it's a game where it can go both ways, and I don't think the history behind any of it really pays too much into it. I mean, it could in a way where the mind games are associated, but then again, like, I think whatever can happen on a day can be, I don't think the smartest of pundits would call it. So, it's a game I'm very looking forward to, especially the first leg. I mean, we'll definitely want to go after a very good start. I mean, we don't tend to in games anyway. I mean, we're definitely a second half team as it goes, but I would like to think that we'd come out of the tracks or come out of the stadium after the game thinking we at least put a good performance in, which gives us a bit of momentum going into that Friday night second leg, which that's possibly the hardest game of the season. I mean, if we're winning at that point, which we probably won't be, I won't lie. It would be the hardest game which the players possibly would have actually played in their whole careers.
Yeah. Is there any worry in you that away game? Because the last away game that you went to, you were there at Hillsborough, and you watched a West Brom side completely capitulate to Sheffield Wednesday, who obviously had a lot more to play for than you did. But this is play like that again at Southampton, and it could be a cricket score, couldn't it?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, that kind of performance that we saw last weekend, I don't think that doesn't happen often. Like, there should be no reason to worry as much as I'm seeing on Twitter and seeing on social media, regardless, because that performance does not come often enough for people to be worried about. I mean, I've seen people questioning the manager. I mean, fair enough, he got something's wrong, but you can't call for his head after the job he's done, and got us in the place where we are now. And to be 3 games away from the Premier League, 2 games away from Wembley as well, it sounds very fickle, I think. I mean, it's just very silly. But I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong, it could happen. I'm not knowing for the fact that performance has happened, and there's a possible chance that a far better team than Southampton could do far worse. But I'm not going to lie. I don't think, touch wood, like, can't see that performance happening again, and hopefully not a scoreline like that at all either.
Okay. All right, let's talk about teams then. This was the team that kicked off against Preston. Would you change any of this?
I don't think I mean, it's bad to say, I don't think Fellows has been at his best recently. I think he's been found out quite a little bit. I mean, he don't get me wrong, it can go both ways, either towards the byline or cut inside, but he's got a little bit of a trademark where he likes to go to the byline, do a step over, and the cross then, if you allow him, then the cross then is going to be on a plate for the striker 9 times out of 10. But if you can stop that cross, then I think you nullify Fellows' best outputs. But I mean, you could say you put Wallace in there either for Asante or Fellows, but I don't know if Corberán will want to play without a striker again, especially now, March is there as well. Asante, fair enough, he's not really a striker, and I don't think he performed too well against Preston, in my opinion anyway. But I'm not too sure Madger would be up to speed yet enough for him to be able to start a game, especially in this kind of situation as well. But either way, Fellows and Asante would probably be the only 2 changes that the whole team would make, because I think the rest of the players have sort of cemented their positions for this season alone anyway. But there's not much more you can change based off that line up there.
All right, then. Well, hoping to keep Mikey Johnson quiet and all the others. Then is our Southampton team. Mikey, just tell the West Brom fans watching this what sort of form Southampton have been in, because we watched you against Leicester and you were awful. We watched you against Leeds and you were great. So help us out with this one. What Southampton side's going to turn up at the Hawthorns?
I think your guess is as good as ours there. I think, obviously, by the weekend, we headed into that last game of the season in poor form. So I'm hoping it's going to be the team that we saw at Leeds in terms of performance, or even the team that went to the Hawthorns earlier in the year, because for me that was up there with our best performance from the team. We dominated from start to finish, and I think if you ask the Baggies fans as well, I think a lot of them were gracious in defeat, realising how good we are, because that was actually off the back of us getting thumped by Bristol City, bringing an end to our run, to then go away to the Hawthorns on a Friday night, like 3 days later, to put in a performance as strong as we did. Was a bit like, okay, like we mean business. But unfortunately, the back end of our season, as we said after the Ipswich game, it just tailed off really. So I'm hoping it's going to be the better Saints rather than the struggling Saints.
Yeah. And out of all the teams, would you prefer to play West Brom rather than Norwich?
Definitely, with no disrespect to West Brom. I know they won at the weekend, but as you guys have alluded to there, they were faltering, and it was a case of they had points on the board early doors as it was. But yeah, and again, like we said, it is playoff football. It will be a difficult one. It's a game I'm feeling confident, but again, with no disrespect to West Brom and Norwich, I think everyone is kind of expecting a Saints Leeds playoff final, but then that could work against us because the pressure could get to us, could get to Leeds, and it could end up being a West Brom Norwich final. That's how playoff football works. So it's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, and playoffs require a certain mentality, don't they? And I suppose Southampton really have got this soft centre, haven't they? Great on the eye, possession football. So, I mean, Aaron, is it the case that Corberán just says to his players, look, especially first 30 minutes, let them have the ball, let them pass it around and catch them on the counter? Is this the sort of game when we're not going to see West Brom have the ball too much and just play on where they are soft, which is certainly on the counter attack, and just bide your time?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue for that point, but then again, we are at home first leg, and as I said earlier as well, you want to be the team that's on the front foot, not sitting back, and because what tends to happen a lot at the Albion, especially if we're at home, if we're allowing the team who's away to come onto us and attack us willy nilly and just have the ball regardless, the crowd will turn, and that's when the away team will know to put one away, put two away. That's what tends to happen. I mean, that's not what the fans. That's not what the players or the coaches will want at all, because the fans play a massive part in the stands. They get the players going, and that's the first thing you want to please, isn't it? Really. So yeah, I mean, I could see. I mean, from a tactical point of view, Carlos will definitely thought about how he's going to line up and how he's going to nullify the Saints team, but I can't see him allowing them to just sit come on to us and pass the ball around willingly, as much as they'd like, because that's when the crowd is going to go, and that's when the game goes. And then again, if that's the case, then the players won't be in it, and it's going to be a hard second leg after that.
Mikey, do you concur with that? I mean, Russell Martin only knows one way of playing, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, exactly. I think we all know what Saints are going to turn up and do. We're going to try and have as much of the ball as possible. We're going to try and wear down the opposition and try and take our chances when we can. But that last sentence there has let us down at times. Like, we've created these chances, excuse me, and we haven't taken. It's all right having the ball. If you don't score goals, you don't win matches. And what you alluded to there, we have been prone to conceding on the counter attack and conceding a sloppy goal. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, but like I said, it's a game that I feel confident that we can, over the course of two legs, come on to. But I think what Aaron's saying there, I do think West Brom have to be winning coming down to St Mary's. I think obviously if Saints win or we come away with a draw, then I do think that will work in our favour.
Okay. All right, let's predict then this two-legged playoff. Aaron, predict the score at the Hawthorns for us.
I think we're gonna see a different Albion team to the ones that you've seen against Southampton previously in the season. I think the first game we played against them early on in November was quite a good performance, if I remember correctly. But obviously the result went against us. I think it was just a sloppy mistake getting that happen. But and when it happened at the Hawthorns in the replay, we were just the second best team. You know, you put your hands up, you're like fair play. You know, you can't argue against that. And now now we've got the chance to get our own back, and I think we will. I genuinely think we will. I don't think we're going to be a shy team, and I think we'll know how Saints going to play better than maybe they'll think we're going to play, because obviously, Russell Martin doesn't tend to change what it does, whereas Corberán can react to the game. He can be proactive as well, which is obviously good. But I'm not naive. I think it will be a very close knit game, and I think there'll be not many goals, maybe a few chances, but not many goals. I think. I'll go with a West Brom 2-1 win.
Okay. And Mikey, predict the game at St Mary's on the Friday night.
I'm going to go with a 3-1 Saints win at St Mary's. That's been very optimistic. But I want to just go what Aaron said. When you guys came down to us in November, we beat you 2-1 up until we lost a hole at St Mary's. You were by far the best team that I've seen at St Mary's. That was a decent game of football, like two sides going for it. That can show what West Brom can do. I think it'll be 1-1 at the Hawthorns, then I think we'll win 3-1 at St Mary's.
And that puts Southampton at Wembley then. And who do you prefer then in the final, Mikey? Leeds or Norwich?
Part of me saying Norwich because on paper it's an easier game, but it's at Wembley, anything can happen. But then we've turned over Leeds at the weekend, so we can, if it's Leeds, it's one of them.
Okay. And Aaron, who do you want?
Give me anyone. I mean, on the day, I'll take. I don't care who we play, who we beat, as long as we get to the Premier League. I do not care.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. Just before I let you go, Aaron, obviously we lost Birmingham this weekend as a fellow Midlands club. Any words of sympathy?
See ya.
Spoken like a true baggie. Right. Okay. All right. Thank you both. West Brom, Southampton, in your comments below, put the score. Tell us what it's going to happen. We'll be watching it live on Sky, 2:15, odd kickoff time, but 2:15 this Sunday, just after the Norwich Leeds game. So we've got 4 hours of Championship football to watch on Sunday, and we're all here for it. Good luck, both of you. We will hopefully catch you next week to talk about round 2. But yeah, cheers for joining us.
Nice one. Thank you very much.